How's your off season been going, bro?
It's been going really good. It's been going really good. Yeah, we first time homeowners, so that's been great. Wife is 5 months into her pregnancy now, so that's coming along. So our daughter's 3, so our second one's on the way. Yeah, we're everything's great, man. No complaints.
I'll tell you, first and foremost, congratulations on that new contract. You talked about your family. It was definitely well-deserved. Had to make you feel good, man, that the Broncos, they really value who you are and what you bring to the table.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, through that whole process, like especially here, it meant more here than it would have, somewhere else, just because I spent the last 5 years playing here, establishing relationships, building, relationship with the community, with the coaches and everything. It just meant more here to say, like, this is our guy. We want him to stay here. And that just meant the world. So, I know I said that a lot in like interviews and with all these other people, but it really meant the world that, like, I wanted to be here and it was mutual. Like, we want you here. And so we're going to get it done.
How nice is it to have so many veteran players in that secondary with you? Bryce Callahan, Kareem Jackson, yourself, Kyle Fuller, who I thought the Bears was absolutely crazy for letting go. And then, you got some depth with the drafting of Patrick Surtain.
Man, I don't think I've been this excited in a minute. I think I was like jumping through the roof when I heard Kareem was coming back. Now, obviously, I was, texting him on the side, like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? We got some pieces coming in. We could use you again, obviously. And for me, it's just all about calmness. Like, I operate really well when we're out there on the field and everything can be hectic. Like, when you got a veteran group like that in the back end, everything's just calm. Like, nothing really throws you off. You're not surprised by a formation, a certain route combination, a play. It's just calmness, right? We get to the sideline. They get paid to. They might get us on a route combo, this, that, and the other. Comes to the sideline, it's calm. No pointing the finger, no blame, none of that. It's just like, hey, all right, this is what we saw. This is our rules. This is our adjustments. A lot of the times, like, and obviously everyone talks about, coaches being your teammates too. It's just like we're all there figuring it out. It's calm. And that's one of the things I appreciate the most with those guys, man, having so much wisdom over the years of them playing. And then I think, the biggest piece of the puzzle, in my opinion, is Kareem. Guy that played corner, guy that played nickel. Now he's playing safety. And so he sees the field a lot differently than, a guy like myself. Played a little bit of corner in college, but a guy like myself would see it because he's seen it he knows what it's like to be a corner that has to do this and what body presence looks like. And so he's coaching me up, like, I says this on paper, Jay, but really, like, this is what the corner's looking for because this is what route combinations they're looking at and this formation and things like that. So the veteran back end, man, has been, I'm happy.
Speaking of which, when I watch you on tape, it seems like Coach Fangio has you doing some different things. You're not just a deep middle safety. You come down, I've seen you cover the tight end, you're in the box, you're playing over the slot sometimes, you're all over the field. Do you think that best suits who you are and your abilities?
Yeah, for sure. I think a part of it, especially in today's league, you got to be able. We're seeing the shift, in my opinion, in the way that you have to play the games with linebackers and safeties. Right, you got to have linebackers that can fill the run, safeties that can fill the run, but you also got to be able to play some base sometimes against 11 personnel or things like that, where you're asking your safeties, you're asking your linebackers to cover tight ends, to cover slot receivers, so that you can be able to function at a higher level. A lot of times teams get you a nickel and can still run the ball really well. And, that's a wrap. And so you got to be able to adjust and to be able to do those things. And so I think that best fits my skill set, being able to come down. The biggest thing that we do, both Kareem and I, is that, we like to think that we're interchangeable. So we'll play that left and right side, try not to give any tips of this is the strong side of the field, this is the weak side of the field. And I think all that works in our favor because the guys that get paid the most are the quarterbacks. And if you can mess them up just a tick, that guys like Chubb and Vaughn will get there a lot faster.
Justin, you mentioned playing left and right, and that's one of the things that I've always liked to do with my safeties. The same thing, not keying who's going to rotate down, who's going to rotate back, anything like that. But you guys play extremely well off of one another. Talk about Pat Surtain and what he brings, and what advice would you give him just transitioning, first round pick, newly acquired guy in the NFL?
Yeah, it's always, when especially, I'm just going to talk specifically about Pat, but, when he's coming in, like, he was in there a couple of times, first team reps, and it was seamless transition. A lot of the communication part, there are a lot of things that the little details, like they may have called it something else at Alabama, but he understands the concept of it. And that's just where it is now. So, I told Pat, like, hey, don't get frustrated on terminology at this point. This is just OTAs. We get to camp, we'll iron those things out. We'll eventually get into game plan. Right now, everything's just vanilla. It doesn't look as clean as it's going to look in camp. And then, we get into game plans throughout the weeks. So everything, don't trip on the little, in terms of the terminology, the little details. We'll iron all those things out. But in terms of him, stepping in day one, OTAs, there's that little stint where Kyle wasn't here. And things like that. So he was in the mix and in the rotation. It was a seamless transition. I mean, he's a guy that came in, understands conceptually what's going on. And like I said, terminology and stuff will pick up, but the way he's out there and just competing already with the ones, it's like he's been there already. So I'm excited to play with him.
Now you got Brantley Chubb, you got Von Miller in front of you. As a safety, how does that affect you and your abilities to be more aggressive, to take more chances, having those guys up front, knowing that when they're healthy, they're going to get after the quarterback?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that just opens up so much on the defensive side of the ball. And it helps me, like you said, I can be more aggressive on route con. Maybe before, if I know we were, a little bit dinged up and maybe the rush wasn't there as much as it would be with, guys like Von and Chubb in there and things like that. But as a safety, I know, like, those guys are in there, the quarterback knows they're in there. Man, this ball's coming out. It's whatever they're looking for, they can get it. They're going to look for some type of key depending on whatever their keys are for the week. And that ball's coming out. So as a safety, I know I can be aggressive on these routes. I can, I'm looking for, now in film, I'm looking for, okay, when I get this formation and I'm in this call, I'm jumping this route because I know I got Von and Chubb coming. If I get this type of route combination, I can jump this. I got help here, this, that, and the other. Whereas, like, if you don't have a consistent rush like that, you're more hesitant. They can hold on to the ball longer. We know routes get made up, and receivers, the short threats start going deep. Deep threats start coming back short. So those are the types of things that you think about. But yeah, with the type of rush that on paper that we have right now, man, as a guy in the back end, I'm excited.
Coach Fangio, he's gotten some criticism, but what makes him the right guy for this job? What do you guys see in him every single day that makes him the right guy for this job that other people from the outside don't really understand? Yeah,
and that's the thing. You always block out that outside noise. I know as a great, and so you can't listen to what other people are saying and this, that, and the other. There are a lot of times where you look at the TV and you see a busted coverage, and that's the player's fault. Coach calls up a great coverage and you would never know on TV because you just see what's on there. Like, why would they run this? And well, he called a great defensive call. We just didn't execute it. And there's things like that happen. But I mean, Coach Vic, man, he's really locked in and tuned in every single week to the game plan. And it's not his way or the highway. It's interacting. Kareem, Justin, we come to the side. What are y'all seeing out there? This is our game plan for the first couple drives. Well, now they're starting to move the ball. We need to adjust. What are you seeing? What are some tools we need to use? Like, those are the things that people don't see on TV, or they don't get to see in the press conferences that as a player I appreciate, because it's winning football. It's not all about me, all about my scheme, all about this. It's what do we need to do to win this game? And I know that hasn't transitioned to the win-loss record column. And we're not going to make all the excuses in the world, but I'm just excited for this season.
Well, I'll just say this, and a big part of it is the instability at the quarterback position. And my question to you is, how much attention do you pay to the quarterback situation, having Teddy there and Drew there?
Yeah, I've always been outspoken about Drew, and I've always admired. I said when we got Teddy, I've always admired Teddy's game from afar. You know, he was he played at Miami Northwestern, and you know, in high school. And I'm a South Florida kid, and I used to go watch him play. And obviously he went on to Louisville, and you know, I just always been an admirer of his game. So when I heard, you know, we got him, and you know, he came out here, and you know, we've just been chopping up. I'm excited. And I think the thing too, like competition at every level is healthy. That's the only way your team is going to get better, right? I don't want someone that's going to come in and think like the job is just theirs. They don't have to work for it. Obviously myself included. And so the same way with the quarterback position, man, I want the best man to win the job. If that's Drew, it's going to be Drew. It's going to play out through training camp. If that's Teddy, it's going to be Teddy. And then obviously everyone's been, you know, with the buzz of Aaron Rodgers and what's going on there. To that type of stuff, I don't really pay attention to, because then I'm not a what ifs guy. So I don't really, if it happens, then it's like, okay, now I'm focused on it. But until then, you know, my quarterbacks as of right now are Drew and Teddy, and those guys are competing, and they're the ones at this point that are going to help our football team be successful. So.
As a team, you guys come in and you meet and you talk, you interact. Do you guys hammer out specific goals like, hey, we want to win the division, or we want to go on the road and do this, we want to do that? Do you guys, like as a team, come out with specific goals saying, hey, we want to win the division, we're trying to go to the playoffs? Or because, you know, my old teams back in 03 and 04, and we never really came out and said, we just said, hey, we want to take it one day at a time, do what we have to do. Which side of it are you guys on? The team that takes the humble approach, or the team that says, hey, look, our goal is to win the division so we can get into the playoffs every single year?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, the last couple of years, it was the humble route, right? Like, hey, we're focused one game at a time, 1 week at a time. And it's true. And that's not taken away from that at all. But really, man, this year, after having a couple of years like we had, and the division play that we've had, it's just, there's something around here that you could tell it's just not sitting right with the organization and the players here. So our saying, you know, so to speak, kind of early in OTAs right now, but it's win the West. And we're in the AFC West, and obviously it's been a couple of years, couple of games now with the not beating the Chiefs and kind of trading blows with the Chargers and Raiders. And so we just want to get back to winning the West. That's what the Broncos do. And so that's the biggest thing here. Like, whatever it takes, you know, win the West. And that's not taken away from the other games on our schedule, because we know how important those are to win the West, right? But that's the thing, man. We need to win the West. That's what the Broncos do, and that's what we need to get back to doing.
Noah Fant is a kid, man. I watch him on tape, and this dude reminds me of Gronk, a faster Gronk. He is athletic. He can catch. It just seems like he's a really good player. Tell me about some of the matchups that you have with him in camp.
Man, I'm so thankful for Noah, one, that he's on my team, that we get to, you know, I don't have to see him on top of seeing, you know, Kelsey and Darren Waller. Like, we got our own guy. You know, y'all got a game plan for Noah. So, and the other thing too is, like you said, you know, he has those tangible things from other tight ends that just makes his game unique. And it's really good practice for myself going up against someone like Noah, because I do feel game ready when I'm going up against guys like Kelsey, guys like, you know, Waller, and things like that. So I'm excited. I think Noah he's going to be a great tight end in this league for years to come. And
yeah, I agree with you.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited for him. I'm really excited.
Juwan James, how did his situation open your eyes and make you realize that, yeah, this is a game that we play, but this is still a business?
Yeah, it was tough. And I had texted Juwan, and I communicated with him too. I'm really upset. And I told him, I was like, I get the business side, you know, with the organization and the Broncos, but I'm really more upset with the PA, and with I feel like the lack of kind of having his back. And now I'm not saying there should have been, like, they could do something and just make it all go away or find ways to get them this, that, and the other. But I just even mean like a statement or something of some sort, to where, you know, this whole thing's been going on in the offseason. You know, we know what happened last year with not playing or not having OTAs, and we had the season that we had as a union. and saw that it was pretty successful, you know, without fans and this, that, and the other. But then, you know, you're telling, you know, the message is telling guys not to show up, not to do this. We don't need OTAs. Well, here's a guy that's, you know, trying to stick with his brothers in arms and trying to find a way to do the right thing. And it's unfortunate what happened. And then there's at least no statement behind like, hey, you know, that's what was really disheartening for me. And, you know, Juwan and I talked about it a little bit, but I was really happy to see him get picked up, you know, with the Ravens. And he's going to be fine, man. He's a guy, you know, we didn't get to see much of him in Denver, but I've seen him in practice, and he's going to be fine. I'm happy for him.
I got to ask you, man, because I love your game, because you're athletic, you can tackle, you can do everything. You can cover, you played corner in college. I understand that. But who are some of the safeties that you kind of grew up watching? Like if you had to describe yourself, Justin Simmons, who are the combination of safeties that make up Justin Simmons? Is it a little bit of Troy Polamalu? Is it a little bit of Sean Taylor? Is it a little bit of Ed Reed? Give me the perfect Justin Simmons combination of safeties.
Put me on the spot, man. I mean, there's a bunch, and I wouldn't say like, I'll say the guy that I used to watch like for the passion of the game that I used to love watching was Brian Dawkins. I just loved the way he approached the game. By no means do I think I do it in the same breath. There's guys like that that's just like, you know, it's a once in a lifetime, you know, generational type of energy and talent, you know, a guy like Brian Dawkins. But
hey, hold on. Let me just say this. Yeah, Brian Dawkins was a bad dude, but that's you.
Yeah.
That's you. That's the way you play. You play the same way, and that's a Hall of Famer. And when I watch tape, and that's why I was so excited to get you on, because I've watched you, and I just felt like that you haven't really gotten the respect nationally. And that's what happened to me when I played for the Chargers. I played there, played great, was outstanding, but only went to a couple Pro Bowls because we were constantly losing. But a guy like you see your talent, you see the playmaking ability, and then people wonder like, man, they paid him that type of money? Yeah, they paid him because he can play. He's really, really good. So I just love your humility and everything. The one question I want to ask you, what is it going to take ultimately for this team to get over that hump and get into the playoffs and win the West like you talked about?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe it's going to come defensively. And that's no shade on any other phase of our game, special teams, offense, but to have the type of guys that we have just on looking on paper, you know, Kyle, Darby, I'm not going to go down the whole list because I know everybody, but I'm not going to go down the whole list. But the guys that we acquired, the guys that were hurt last year that are coming back, you know, Chubb was hurt the year prior, came back, had a Pro Bowl year. You know, now he's going to be coming back another year, healthy, motivated, confident. I think it's going to fall on the defense, man. We obviously play, you know, powerhouse offenses like, you know, the Chargers, the Raiders had a great offense last year. Then, you know, the Chiefs are always at the top of the, you know, the offensive, you know, yards per games and things like that. And so defensively, man, like we don't need to make game shootouts every week. You know, we need to be able to handle our business and be able to create turnovers for our offense, give them more possessions, be able to stop the run, execute in the passing game with the secondary that we have. And those are the tangible things, you know, the roadmap to winning the West. And I can't control what the offense does. Whatever they do is what they do. But defensively, we can control a lot of the game, setting our offense up with more possessions, things like that, shortening the field, whatever the case may be. And that's what it's going to take for us to win the West. And it's going to fall in the defense's hands.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.